Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode from Technical Sports Services. Today, we're going to have a look at the importance of kick, different styles of kick, different stroke kick in terms of swimming. I'll put up the presentation and take you through my views and what I've experienced over the years and why I think the kick is so important to swimming. So I'll just share my screen. Okay, so why is kick so important? So obviously there is two real main purposes to kick in terms of swimming. So the first one is to provide propulsion, not only to all the different strokes, butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle, but also to underwater streamlining, which is now obviously becoming such an important part of swimming altogether. So the second thing is to provide a balance for the rest of the strokes, really in front crawl, backstroke, and butterfly. Breaststroke I'll discuss a bit later, but really propulsion and balance are the two different purposes that we use kick for, particularly age group up to senior level. Anyone who's been involved in Scottish swimming or the UKCC qualifications will have heard of Blabbit. He obviously had body position, legs, arms, breathing, and timing. Now, must reiterate that these are all important. However, personally, today we're going to focus on the legs because I think that for swimmers coming into a club level is the most important thing, and I'll explain why. So, as I said, Blabbit is all important. Every specific part of it is important to swimmers learning to swim. However, swimmers coming into a club environment, the kick is the most important thing I look for. And I'll make it clear that not everyone has a good kick. However, all the district champions, national swimmers champions, and above international swimmers that I've coached over the years have had an excellent kick or a way of using it to their advantage. So, for instance, a strong flutter kick allows a swimmer to support their body better in the water. It means when they come to introducing their arms, any drills, breathing practice, timing, that they have the support of their legs to accomplish these and so will progress quicker. So if you're introducing the arms, if they don't have a kick, then they're really only using their arms to support their swimming. If you're trying to learn arms while using your arms to support swimming, it's very, very difficult. So having the kick there provides a stable balance, allows them to sit higher in the water, allows them to take their time when they're learning their arms, for instance. Whereas if you don't have that kick there, it makes it much more difficult. They tend to rush things. Because they're so dependent on their arms, if their arms stop, they stop. So it allows them that base. A strong butterfly kick is now extremely important with the underwater areas of swimming creating such a great advantages. So a strong butterfly kick is now off the dives and off all the turns. All the underwater phases are butterfly kick. Even in the breaststroke, there is a butterfly kick. So it's important that they have that. Some swimmers will be naturally gifted with a breaststroke kick, but will struggle with any of the other ones. So this is only a few swimmers in a lot of swimmers, but if you can cater for that, so if they have a really good natural breaststroke kick, if you can cater for that, the potential for them to progress in breaststroke faster is massive. They will probably tend to stand out in the breaststroke and struggle to do front crawl and backstroke kick. Now, it's not everybody. There are exceptions that are good across the board, but genuinely, you'll find that a lot of really good breaststrokers aren't the greatest at the other kicks. The types of kicks. So, flutter kick for freestyle or backstroke, 6 beat, 4 beat, 2 beat, crossover. Okay, and what I mean by distances, though, you tend to find that for sprinting or up to 200, 400 meters, that most good top end swimmers will use a 6 or 4 beat kick. They'll use that kick for propulsion all the way through, and it doesn't drop off. However, for distance swimmers, the kick is maybe not hugely important for the propulsion side, but it's maybe really important for the stability side, for allowing your stroke to be as efficient as possible. So for instance, Duncan Scott uses a 6 beat kick because he's shorter distance predominantly. Grant Hackett, who's one of the best 1500 meter swimmers ever, he used a 4 beat kick, which stopped just when he breathed to stretch out in front. Katie Ledecky, she uses a 2 beat kick. Now, obviously, if she's doing a 1500, for the first 100, 200 meters, she's not doing a 2 beat kick. But once she settles into a rhythm, she does a 2 beat kick while she swims that longer distance swim, just to keep her stroke balanced and help her propel her arms forward at the most efficient rate possible. Now, the crossover you don't see much. Now, I mean, I've seen it in maybe 3 or 4 swimmers over the last couple of years. And it tends to be distance swimmers, open water swimmers. So when their legs just basically come across each other in order to balance the stroke and not have the hips sway side to side in an S shape as they go down the pool. A butterfly kick, 1 or 2 beat per stroke, used for both butterfly and for all the underwater phases, including the breaststroke pull out, as I said earlier. So if you tend to find that most of the top fly swimmers will use a 2 beat kick. There'll be 1 kick on the entry, 1 kick on the exit with the arms. It keeps a rhythm. And one of the best things to use for this is actually, obviously there's the aquapacer and all this, but one of the best things to use for this is actually a metronome, something you use for your music timing. You can set it to how fast or slow you want it, how fast or slow you want your swimmers to keep a beat for that fly kick. Some of the swimmers that swim fly for IM, maybe potentially not their favorite stroke. They maybe do a 1 beat kicks, just 1 beat per stroke to drive them forward, potentially to save energy for another stroke within the IM event that they are predominantly good at. Breaststroke kick, again, specific to breaststroke itself, and it is predominantly propulsion based. It is what drives the stroke forward each time. There isn't really anything to do with stabilizing your body. Although your hips should stay level, it really doesn't count on the kick to drive that. That's controlling your body to make sure that your kick stays level rather than the other way around. So it's an important part of that, because you watch all the best breaststrokers in the world, they have an extremely good breaststroke kick. I think Ross Murdoch, for instance, I've seen him swim numerous occasions, and I've seen him do short course, and by the time he does his pull out, he only does 2 strokes in the first length. And then even after that, he's maybe doing 3 strokes for the next 4 lengths. So his kick is phenomenal. It's really, really strong. So his upper body is obviously powerful in driving stroke, but the kick is what really pushes the propulsion forward. So important things to note. What I'm saying here is, just because a swimmer doesn't have a good kick doesn't mean they won't be a great swimmer. Okay, there are great swimmers out there, but they have all adapted their kick to suit them, suit what they want to do, suit their event, suit their stroke. So, but it is important for them to have that kick to suit their type. For age group swimmers and swimmers coming into the club that most of us will deal with, it's important that you make sure that if they have that kick, that you use it in the right way. And if they don't, that, again, you use it for the right type of stroke that you want them to swim. Ankle flexibility in all of the kicks is absolutely vitally important. You have flutter kick, for instance, if you don't have ankle flexibility, the kick will not propel you forward. It will balance you and it will provide you some level of propulsion. But if you think of a ruler, if you were to take a ruler, if you were to move it up and down in the water, it doesn't displace that much water. If you were to bend it down and let it go, it would displace a huge amount of water in comparison. So that's what your ankle does. So if you keep your ankle stiff and you're kicking up and down, then it's not propelling water out the back. If you allow for the massive flex of the ankle, it creates a much bigger propulsion out the back, pushes you forward. Breaststroke, you have to be able to turn your feet out and flick them back together. Okay, so it requires a lot of movement in the ankles. So it's vitally important, the ankle flexibility. And it's one of the things that if I had any piece of advice for younger age group coaches, is that is one of the things you should definitely look at, is look at how their ankles are working in the kick and make sure that it is as flexible as possible. Try and get them to work on it, relax the feet, so they really when they use fins in particular, make sure they use the whole range of motion and they don't just kick up and down, because they will not get the best out of that fins. Okay, underwater has obviously become a huge importance to the swimming world. So now it is 15 meters every turn for some of the best folk in the world, and they are lightning fast at it. Caleb Dressel's probably the best at it. He can take meters off of the best swimmers in the world, Olympic level medalists, and he can still take meters off of them with the ability he has under the water off his dives and turns. It is a massive thing at that level. At age group level, if you have a very, very strong underwater, you will stand out immediately. In national level competition, most of the swimmers you see at the top level are the swimmers that are good under the water, that have the good, strong underwater off the turns and starts to really power their stroke and also save them energy. It makes it more efficient to be under the water and streamline than it is to actually be swimming. So, and it's also faster. So this comes in as a huge importance now. So these things are things to keep in know. Again, as I say, it doesn't mean you won't be a good swimmer if you don't have a good kick. Many a good swimmer have worked it to their advantage. However, it is hugely important for coaches to see, coming out of swimming lessons, the ones that have that strong kick base, push them on through drills and other things really much faster, because they'll be able to support them. Whereas ones that are potentially relying on their arms to do the swimming itself might not be able to do it. Okay. Thanks for listening. Stop sharing my screen there. Okay. Any questions, feel free to send us an email and we'll see you soon.